Good morning, everyone. It's Spirit Sessions, A View of the Light, and we're here today with a bunch of wonderful people and our very special guest, Diana Cooper. But first, I want you guys to share this out and get this word out. We're going to be talking all positive all day long. So I really would love for you to share this out with your friends, your family. And remember, you can listen to this again on the replay, either through our podcast or through our YouTube or through the Breakthrough Show Network YouTube. So join us there. And I'd like to introduce you Diana Cooper. She has been on our show and honored us with her presence a few times, but every time we are so excited to see her. She's a busy lady. She's an author. She's an oracle card author. She has a school. She does classes. I mean, when I grow up, I want to be Diana Cooper, honestly. Seriously, I would just love to get half of what she's done in my life. And she brings such positive light to the world. So Diana, please say hello to our guests. And Diana, you would like to start off the show with, we would love for you to start off the show with a card. We usually send a message out every week. So we'd love to have you.
Well, the card that's at the very top, just looked at it, is homes. And this is about the homes we're going to live in the golden future. And the message is live in an ecological, creative, and fun space. And you notice the homes are all round, because if you've got squares, that's the old masculine energy, and lower energies can get stuck in the corners. If you've got round, you can keep every frequency much higher. The people in it are having fun. There are animals, there's water, and there's a beautiful dome over the homes to hold that energy at a high frequency. It's absolutely fabulous what lies ahead for all of us. Amazing times that we're living in.
I know I've been listening to your Golden Future book. That's your latest book that you've brought out. I'm sure there's something else in the works. But and your Oracle deck. If you want to give people a little show of your Oracle deck, I don't have that to show. And beautiful! The artwork's gorgeous. I've seen some of the cards.
The artwork is stunning. It's absolutely fabulous. He was really tuned in.
Oh, wow, it's amazing to have access. And we always say we buy it for the artwork, don't we? Okay. We have to have this because the artwork's so amazing on it. And I just look at them sometimes and just love the cards. Diana, the Golden Future, are we going to see it in our lifetime? What is it? How are we going to get there? Like, give us a little lesson.
Remember that this 20 years that we're in between 2012 and 2032 is the most important time there's ever been in the entire history of the planet. And the reason is that a 260,000 year cosmic era of Atlantis ended in 2012, 260,000 years. And we're given 20 years before the start of the new golden age. So 2032 it starts, and that's not very long. And in that 20 years, as you know, we've had to move from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. Now, in the golden era of Atlantis, which only lasted for 1,500 of those 260,000 years, the energy was the highest it's been on the planet. Everyone was fifth dimensional. Everyone was happy and contented. They had awesome gifts. And we're moving to a frequency higher, because Golden Atlantis was built on a third dimensional planet, and we are moving into the fifth dimension on a fifth dimensional planet. So the opportunities for spiritual growth during this 20-year period are awesome. And as the entire planet moves into the new, our lives are going to change beyond recognition.
We're changing. Is it the people that are on, is there two worlds? Is there still a 3D and a 5D that we're going to move into and sort of split apart on? Or
We're
Oh,
not really giving energy to that because our vision and our aim is to take everybody up into the fifth dimension. I mean, you may note that I do a monadic merge meditation. It's been happening every month. It started last year in Portugal, and then they kept upgrading it because at the end, having merged with our monad, we go to the Intergalactic Council and make petitions for the planet. And the changes that have taken place already are phenomenal. And the last one we had to do was to bring the blue pyramid of Michael over the entire planet. And what this has done is blocked the dark energies from coming into the planet, because so much of what's going on is not people doing it, it's that they're being fed by the dark energy, allowing it to influence them. Now, this is cutting that off. And apparently, what's happened is that dark energy has gone out into the universe and created big problems. And the universe has got together, they've cooperated to get rid of it, either expel it from this universe or transmute it. Now, we still have to do with what's in the planet, what's within us, but we're starting to shift that hugely already. And it's made a big, big difference. This month, we're going to ask for individual pyramids, blue pyramids, which protect you from the dark energies and also enable you to see source truth. We're being asking that they put those over every person of influence. So that's all the political leaders, the religious leaders, the people who are in charge of schools and hospitals. And if they all have a blue pyramid over them and they can't be affected by lower energies, that's going to be another big shift for the planet. Another thing we started last month, they asked me to put this in, was to take the spiritual blindfolds off the third eyes of 1.5 billion people on the planet who have not been able to see spiritually at all. And I was talking to my guide yesterday, and he said that so far they've removed 17 million. Now that's a starting point. And the more people that make that petition, the more quickly the rest of them will be released and removed. I mean, it's wonderful what is happening on the planet. Oh, and another thing for this month, and this hasn't actually gone out yet, the latest one, is that we ask that Mary Magdalene has taken this petition for the balance of masculine and feminine energy on the planet to come into balance. Because, of course, when that's in balance, then male and female respect and honor and love each other, then they have peace, and that leads to world peace. And so this time we've added something onto that. I mean, I have to go and ask if we can have permission to make the petition to the Intergalactic Council. And they, in some of them, like the Blue Pyramid and the Pure White Flame of Atlantis, Master Marco has to go to the councils of all the planets to get permission, because it doesn't just change Earth, it is changing the universe. And so these are very important things that we're asking for. But this time, we're actually asking that the intransigent male energy that has become so stuck is influenced by the divine feminine, so that it comes into their minds and hearts and starts to shift them from their stuck position. Wow.
that's a lot, folks. That's a lot. That is a lot.
Yeah.
And
And this is happening.
and and this week, a lot of people have been complaining about physical, like, uncomfortableness. Is this part of, like, the shift? So, I mean, our bodies, our physical bodies, are going to have to change when we get bombarded by all this, right? A
A
little
lot,
bit.
yeah, a lot of things are happening because, well, as you know, there are all sorts of energies coming in from the universe that are raising our frequency and changing us. But we are also being prepared to have crystalline brains and seventh dimensional light bodies, crystalline bodies. Now, a crystalline brain is awesome because it means that you've got a brain like a computer. And it means that you, when that happens, you don't have right and left brain anymore. What you're then going to have is a crystalline brain and a crystalline heart. So you're going to have a higher heart wide open and a brain that operates like a computer. And of course, it's not hard like a crystal. It has the qualities, the memory, the ability to connect up to source, to bring in all the information you need from the galaxies from wherever you're connected to, and of course each other. And it's going to change the planet as more and more people bring these in. And many of the children are already being born with their 12 strands of DNA intact and connected, but they're not able to use it and activate it because the frequency around them is so low. But now, as we raise our frequency, more and more of these children are going to be able to connect and use all their gifts and talents. Amazing and awesome. And as I was talking about earlier, and this is another shift for the planet, in January, I was sitting by my log burning stove one evening and Merlin came in, the great magician, Master Merlin. And he came in his electric blue cloak with silver platinum stars all over it. And he said to me, I want you to start a magic school. And I said, I know nothing about magic. And he said, and because I was thinking magic, Hogwarts, not my style at all. And, and he said, my power comes through the higher heart. The magic of the future is the higher heart activation. Everything that comes through that we can do then comes with that high frequency energy. I said, right, I'm on, I'm very happy to do that. And so he's been coming to me ever since. The other day I was working on some portals because I'm creating portals to a lot of different places. And we had an incredible portal activation ceremony for 7 of them recently. And so he said to me, I want you to work on the magic school. And I said, well, I am. The portals are for the magic school. And he said, no, I want you to work on the courses to teach people. But I had a big, sorry, I touched. I had a big salutary lesson recently because he's given me, and I'm doing this online tomorrow for anybody who joins in the workshop. He's given me exactly what to do to put the codes in of magic. And he is going to come in and he's going to put the codes in to prepare people. What he said is that he's putting the codes in, anybody can receive them, but they're like a key safe in your house. You have the key codes, they give you access to the key. You can then put it into the door of the mansion of magic, but you cannot open that door until Merlin activates it. Now, many people will be absolutely ready instantly for him to activate them. But the moment you're ready, he will activate them for you. And so this is the big lesson I had. My 2 dogs are the greatest friends. They have never had so much as a growl between them. They adore each other. And my granddaughter came to visit and she asked me if I'd give her the codes. Merlin said, yes, she's ready. So we said we'd do it that afternoon. We came in from a walk and she said, I'm really tired. So I said, well, you go and have a snooze and then we'll do the codes. She went flat out fast asleep. I sat down on my laptop and went flat out fast asleep. And afterwards I said, okay, let's do the codes now. And we started the process. And suddenly the dogs in the middle of the sitting room started to fight. I never, ever happened before. They really were going at it hammer and tongs. And I had to stop. I had to go and separate them and everything else. And so we started again, and I put the protection and everything around. And we started again, and I gave her the codes. She accepted them. And then I said, okay, so why did they fight? What was going on? And he said, when you and your granddaughter were asleep, you went out of your body to do some light work. You went into some very heavy, deep energies to try and clear them, and you got contaminated. Now, that morning, you didn't put the protection around your house. So you came in with that energy with you. And he said that if the dogs, because the dogs sensed it, they had to stop me. And so they fought. That was the only way they could do it. And so that if they hadn't done that and you'd carried on and you'd put the codes in her, they would have been contaminated. And then Merlin could not have activated them, and she could never, ever have performed the magic of the higher heart. And I thought, whoa, what a warning, what a lesson. And we forget. Well, I forget. I do it all the time. But on that morning, I hadn't done it.
Yeah, I mean, I actually assign one of my angel guardians to do it because my brain doesn't work all the time. I said, "You're in charge of putting
Oh, that's a good idea. That is a
You're
very
in charge." I said, "Lucian, you're in charge of putting the protection around me. That's your job. I thank you in advance for doing it every day. Do it around the farm, around me, around the house, around everything."
Yeah, well, I usually do it. But it's very easy to invite darkness into your house with your thoughts, with something you're watching on television. If you put that on and there's something dark, I had a horrible experience. I've since given up television completely. I was watching a program about Jeffrey Epstein. What on earth was I doing that for?
I know. It's a morbid cursor. Yeah.
It was on anyway. And I woke up next morning and I went into the sitting room, and there was this cloud of black etheric smoke coming out of the television, filling the room. Whoa, that was my first lesson about the protection again, and not being there. And I tried every way to get rid of it. I tried the violet flame, I tried the Christ light, I tried all sorts of things. It wasn't until I called in the pure white flame of Atlantis that it went and disappeared. But that was lesson number 1, and this was lesson number 2. So I'm hoping I never need a third one. It's about bringing lower energies into the house.
Diana, I had thought that we were reaching a point in frequency if we're doing the work where we are vibrating so high, even if those dark energies are in our midst, they wouldn't be able to even attach or impact us. But that does not sound like that's the case.
You're absolutely right, unless you invite it in. Now, if you go out into a dark space to do light work, and we do it in our sleep, as you know, then if you get contaminated, then you have to make sure you're protected. If you, however high your frequency, they're more likely to come in and touch you, aren't they?
That's true.
You know, and if you put the television on and there's some horrible war story on, that's inviting it into your home. You've done that. You've issued that invitation. If you're sitting there moaning about something, you're inviting the lower energies in. And I always, always, always focus on the positive, having just told you those 2 stories, but they were illustrations for a purpose. Normally, I only ever talk about the amazing, wonderful, incredible lives that are available now and the awesome futures that there are. You know, when people say to me, "Oh, what a dreadful world it is," I say, no, stop. Don't give that any energy. We are creating the most wonderful world. We're creating communities where everybody is living with their soul families in harmony, in love, but in contentment, but also in abundance. And all this stuff that's going on now about people not having enough, that's rubbish. There's enough for everybody. We just have to call it in with our consciousness and our frequency, as you know.
Kim, have you got a question? Because I
No,
know I know you do, because I know
Yes.
you're pretty good.
No, I really love what you're sharing about really becoming aware and conscious about what we surround ourselves with, and in a way what we consume in everything we do. But I'm curious, like, how does for you a golden future look like? How does the next couple of months, years, how do you envision it? Because I really love your energy, and I really love, like, you're truly embodying this spirit of joyfulness and of excitement and of really shifting the mind, the energy to the higher vibrational space. But what do you do, and how can you share with everyone else how they can support themselves besides not watching television when there's something like that on? But
the first thing I do is every single day I committed to do the monadic merge meditation. So I merge with my monad. And I used to start asking for things. I don't do that anymore. I now take energy to share from Earth with my monad, to expand my monad. And that just doing that makes a difference. And so I do that every day. So that holds me in that energy. Sorry, something was pinging on there. And so that usually starts my day. And I also walk in nature every day with the dogs. So at least an hour and a half to 2 hours, either by the sea or in the woods. And I think that's really, really important. And I'm talking all the time to my guides and to Archangel Metatron. And I try to make that my focus.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, one of the very important things is to stay in balance of mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, balance of right brain, left brain. And I know that because I'm a writer, so that's quite a left brain operation. And so I said to them, am I in balance? They said, yes, you are, but you need to make sure you stay in balance. You not go too left brain. So I said, well, how can I do that? And he said, don't, this is probably, you hate this, don't listen to things on podcasts that are very left brain, that just give you information. Go lighter. Listen to things that are easy and slip into the right brain and keep your right brain open. Things like romances, something like light stories, fun things, obviously nice things. And that helps to keep your right brain open rather than focusing only on left brain stuff. And I mean, that's wonderful. It makes life so much easier.
I love that. Yeah, and it's already like it's sometimes it are the most profound, simple things that help to shift us. Like focus on the things that bring you joy or excitement, or I love that.
Absolutely. And I think this just walking in nature is. I mean, I know everybody says it, but it really is.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've always had kind of messages and experiences with trees. But one of the things Merlin gave me was he said, okay, I'm now giving you the codes of telepathy so that you can talk to trees. You must open your higher heart.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, brilliant. I went into my local woods and there are 2 oak trees and they're about 200 yards apart, but they're huge. And so I went to the first one and there were 3 women standing under it talking. So I thought, okay, that's not the place to go. I went to the other one, which is huge and amazing. And I opened my heart and embraced it. And it said, hello. And so I asked about it. And he said, well, I'm the yang tree. And either I carry the masculine energy. And what I do is I create a space for a mile around and I protect all the trees in that space. I actively protect them. It was really interesting because all nature spirits came out of the tree and were peering at me. And then he said, the other tree is my partner, and that's a yin tree. And she also can protect a space for a mile around, but her job is to nurture the the trees and the animals in that space. And then he started giving me information about the roots and things. And I thought, oh, isn't that fantastic?
Yeah. I love your curiosity. Yeah. It's really like the wonders or the
Well, I'm
sparks.
always asking questions.
Yes. Yeah, I love it.
It's so cool because they've been recently discovering that trees just do that.
Oh, yes.
Trees actually do that. And
Yes.
they're trying to figure out of course, they have to figure out the hows, right? So they've been through the mycelium and it's a whole thing. And they'll keep stumps alive for years and they'll protect the trees and give early warning signs to, you know me, I'm a tree hunter.
They are amazing, yeah.
I've been doing that when I go on my nature walks, is just tapping into the mycelium network, because I feel like it's like a matrix, a divine light matrix, right? That's going around the entire earth. And so why not tap it in? Like you said, nurturing and the electricity and the life force, all the intelligence.
Yeah. Well, yes, and they store all the local information, and the forest stores so much from the light codes from the planets until we're ready to accept it. The trees are amazing. And such great healers as well. Beech trees are heart healers. You've only got to go into a beech wood and it's working on your heart center without you even realizing it.
Oh, good to know.
And yeah, and this morning I was walking in this place and I had never seen it before. There were all these weeping, that's what they said they didn't want to have, silver birch trees. And I thought, oh, hello, sir, weeping silver birch. And they said, we would prefer it if you called us cascading silver birch.
Of course.
Really, that's real, because when you say weeping, it makes people sad and their energy goes down. That's what they said. And I thought, wow, it's true.
Oh, that's so true. Oh, so simple.
Yeah, absolutely.
Melinda asked, is the monad and the Holy Spirit the same thing? She was maybe talk a little bit about what the monad is, actually.
Okay.
For some of our people, including
Source in this universe, the source sent out aspects of itself, and they were the monad, that very high frequency of source energy stepped down, a little bit like great grandparents, and they send out their children, which are your grandparents, and then those grandparents, they send out into the world their children, and they become parents, and then they send out another layer and they become the personalities on earth. And so each one is going into deeper, denser frequencies to explore and to take the results of their explorations, their adventures, all that they've learned back eventually to the monad. So we're all on a journey back to the monad. And that's what we're doing now. That's why I do the monadic merge every day, to merge with that energy.
And we can find that meditation on your website or on YouTube.
It's on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And there'll be a new one going up in a couple of days.
Oh, awesome. So anybody wants to know, that's how you can do it. You're going to tell us about Merlin and about the golden future. And I was listening to all the fantastic things that are going to happen on the golden future. And part of my little left brain goes, yeah, but how can we do that? How can we get there? And it's like an up leveling of everyone in human. It's like all of a sudden we reach this point and all of a sudden it comes forth. Is that how you see it happening? It's
a consciousness shift. And so as soon as enough people raise their consciousness to this level, then they affect everybody else, the 100th monkey, the tipping point, and then everybody moves into that higher frequency. And so the more people then move to the next level, then the whole world moves to that level. And there are so many energies now coming in to support us. Each time we raise our frequency, the universe sends in a higher frequency to help us. So it's happening automatically. And so as soon as the consciousness of the planet is ready, enough people have raised their frequency, and we're ready for, say, wise leaders, then the wise leaders stepped in. At the moment, they're all waiting, but they can't do anything because the consciousness of the average person isn't ready. But the very instant it is, they come in. It's awesome on every level. The moment enough people want to have peace, there is peace, because people are focused on that. That's what they really, really want. And when all the lower energies are now beginning to dissolve, not affecting people anymore, it can all happen more quickly. Everything's accelerating. And I think that there'll probably be quite a lot of fighting and people protesting and all of that sort of thing in order to get there.
That's so cool. And people will say, well, that can't happen. That's not able to happen. But when you look back in history, the giant leap we took from between World War I and the end of World War II was humongous. We went from balloons to jet fighters. Like, it's amazing when people focus on something, how fast we can progress. I mean,
this 20-year between 2012 and 2032 is a huge evolutionary shift for humanity. And so this is a major, major thing.
Do you think star people, I mean, I know star people are helping with this shift. Do you think they're going to be kind of disclosing themselves to sort of light the fuse a little bit more as well?
Well, in the monadic merge meditation, we visit a number of planets to access the light codes from there. And the light codes, they can come into your body and then they're activated again when you're ready. And people are ready. So, for example, you go to Sirius and then they give you the light codes. Well, at the moment they're giving us the light codes to the Christ consciousness, but also all the lots of new technology coming in, the secret symbols coming in that unlock the doors to other energies. And so that all comes in from Sirius. But I really have to talk about this because it's so exciting. And that is, we go to Andromeda. Now that's the higher heart of the world, the higher heart chakra of the universe. Go to Andromeda, and there it holds at an 11th dimensional frequency a perfect balance of love, peace, and wisdom. And when you step in and absorb that energy, you can call in the codes of rejuvenation. And those codes of rejuvenation can go into every cell of your body. You can name the parts, and that starts a shift to bring you younger. Now, you can also go to Helios, which is the great central sun, the sun beyond the sun, and Archangel Metatron is in charge there. And that's where all the light codes for this universe are created by him. We can now go there. See, this wasn't possible before. It's only been possible in the last year or so. Well, not even that long. And you can go there and you can ask to bring in the codes of regeneration. So for the first time since the golden era of Atlantis, we are able to start rejuvenating and regenerating. Now, it doesn't happen. You say, oh, I want to be regenerated, and it happens. You go every day and you ask for those codes to come into you. I've got, it's one of the workshops, there's a recording on my website, but you can just ask those codes to come into you. And that starts making a shift in your cells so that you are ready to get younger.
I love that.
I think Diana's been using it for a while, honestly.
Well, I've been using it for a few months. Yeah.
Now you said up until about a year ago, we weren't able to access this. What shifted a year ago that allowed us in?
It's the rising consciousness of humanity.
Okay.
Constantly rising so that we can then access doors that we couldn't access before. And in January this year, we started to access Pluto. And of course, that holds very high frequency codes, and we can bring lots of energies in from there.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we
So
talked about
it's
Pluto.
allowing amazing things to happen.
Okay, this Jen Soto from Ecuador is asking us, what is your and I'm sure a lot of us live with this too in our lives, like half the house is good light and half the house is sort of just following behind a bit. What is your recommendation on how one can set up a protective net around their home and self while currently living with a low vibrating spouse or partner? So that's I think a lot of us can relate
Really tough, really tough thing to do. And I would say the very first thing is keep the house clear. You know, the partner is possibly quite sensitive to all the energies, may not show it, may be very dismissive of everything that you're doing. But if you keep the frequency of the house clear, you can call in the pure white flame of Atlantis to fill the house, to clear all those lower energies and transmute them. And that's very powerful. Before you come in, make sure that you cleanse yourself. It's just a word, just say, come in. Please let the pure white Christ light come in and raise the frequency of my body and clear any old frequencies. Always have a protection over you. Now, as you know, whatever you believe in works for you. So I use Michael's pyramid and I use the gold ray of Christ because I believe in those from my past life experiences. That's what's right for me. But other people have different things that are right for them. Make sure that you have a good protection around you. It's a psychic protection. Always ask your dragons to be with you. I always ask my dragons to go in front of me, the angels around me, and the unicorns to hold the frequency high so that I'm in this ball of angelic light. Now, it must be very frustrating to live with a low frequency partner. But if you can keep your frequency high, then there's a chance that they can raise their frequency. But if you are being influenced by their energy, your light is going out. You have to make sure that your light is so strong. And high frequency energies consume lower frequency energies. So you're in a position to hold that light to enable them to shift. And no one says it's easy.
No, it's a work. And I know that one of the physical tools that you gave us last time you were on is putting little pieces of selenite over your doors and windows. And I went out and got a whole bunch and put them all around my house.
Yeah, that does make a difference. And that's the unicorn energy. And so that means that unicorn light is shining down on you when you go through a door, when you walk into your home, etc. Yeah, putting a few crystals that are properly cleansed. Good night tonight, it's the full moon. Just wash them, cleanse them, dedicate them, and let the full moon charge them up.
Yeah, that's a good
I
thing.
love what you shared as well, because it's making like routines that work for you and understanding the magical power of our words that have, like as you shared, cleanse or calling in the white flame of Atlantis. But what really helps for me as well is like making these routines and just like when you're brushing your teeth, maybe put a post-it with the text you just shared, put it on the mirror. And each time you brush your teeth in the morning and in the afternoon and at night, you're cleansing your house. And if you do that at regular places, like when you hang your coat on the, make a note there, because you need to do it regularly. It's a commitment to yourself and to your
absolutely
house.
That's a really good suggestion. No, I think that's a wonderful idea. It's like cards. You find a card that you like. This one, I've just picked it up. The law, act with common sense and responsibility. And you put it somewhere where you can see it. And it's like, act with common sense and responsibility. Wow. What am I doing that needs to listen to that message and do it?
Yes. And it's also, I think as well, for me as well, when you're surrounded sometimes with people that are in a lower vibration or have a bad day, like it's understanding that we have the awareness. So
Yeah.
with our awareness, we can make the shift and we can support them in a way. And sometimes that's really asking a focus and a dedication, and it's not easy, but we are on this earth with this awareness, and we are where we are to make the contribution. And sometimes it already starts in our house, not per se in the outside world. It starts in this.
No, you're absolutely right. I think that's wonderful. And I think the other thing is stay in your adult. I think if you're living with somebody who's at a lower frequency, it's very easy to go into your child and they go into your child, and then you've got 2 4-year-olds communicating.
Yes.
Kind of an adult communicating with somebody of a different energy, frequency, or age. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. You're muted.
Yeah.
We can't hear you yet.
Sorry, I'm just reading the question
That's
that's come in. Yeah, it says take compassionate action with our notes around the house, as low vibe persons can easily be triggered by them. Yeah, but it triggered in what way? They can be triggered to raise their frequency, or you're pressing their buttons. Now, if you're deliberately pressing their buttons, that's something different. And that's not what we're suggesting at all. We're suggesting that you put notes around the house to remind you of how to live a better life, but that will not upset them, but enable them to raise their frequency too.
Teresa Holmes. Hi, Teresa. The other Teresa. Yes, I always call in my dragons. So does our Teresa. And fae, angels, unicorns to help me, and the violet flame of Saint Germain. So.
Okay, can I just say something about that? That's absolutely wonderful. But remember that if you call in the violet flame, it opens you up. People don't generally realize this. So call in, if you wish to, the gold and silver violet flame, because that's got a protective energy. Or if you use the violet flame, call in the gold ray of Christ with it so that you get a protection for what you've opened up.
Okay.
Are you saying, Diana, otherwise you'll just be walking around vulnerable then?
Yeah. And then we say, well, how do these energies get into us? Well, that's one way. Just opening yourself up and letting it happen. We're compassionate, we're caring, we're understanding, and that's how the energies get in from other people as well.
It's like moths to a flame, right? That's pretty much what I always say. When you're bright, you attract things that, like that bright light, want to suck that out or try to up theirs. So, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know something else? If you're with a low vibration person, then if they can see that you're radiant with light, even though you're not talking about it, then that's a very attractive, enticing energy for somebody to want to have a bit of that, to want to understand and know. I mean, if you're high frequency, but you're also miserable, then they're not going to be attracted to that at all. You're not going to raise their frequency in any way. Yeah. It's about just letting that inner light shine out and glow.
Frequency speaks more than words.
Yes. Absolutely.
It is true.
Yeah.
But it's also, and I think that's also the shift into 5D or 7D. Like, it's like before, taking care of your physical body, eating healthy, moving and cleansing, brushing your teeth. But now that we become aware of our subtle energies, it's also taking care of them. Just like we need food, we need to take care of, like, we're not only this physicality, we're so much more. And it's, I think that's also maybe like almost like 5D healthcare or 7D you care. Right. It's like this upgrade of what is happening. Yeah.
Well, it's also, you can't be totally healthy and sitting there eating chocolate and biscuits because you're not giving your body the right fuel. And so you need to put the right fuel in your car so that you can be at your best. You need to do the exercise and exercises too. I'm very bad on that one, but it's really important to do it.
Yeah. But it maybe also asks like a shift in our, like if you read older books. They're all about, okay, nurturing your mind, body, and spirit. But there's so much more happening now that almost also maybe these books need an upgrade, because somehow we become aware of so much more different energy bodies we have that also need nourishment and care. And before, we were not even aware or could not access them, or
perhaps we didn't have those extended bodies like we do now. Because whether people believe it or not, the frequency around individuals has changed dramatically. It really has. There's so many more angels and beings around us. The question coming in now, are the gold ray of Christ and the white light of Christ the same? No. There are 7 levels to the Christ light. In other words, there are 7 dimensional frequencies. Christ light is pure source energy, but it comes in at different frequency bands. The gold ray of Christ is protective, is also healing. The white ray is about total purification, and the pink silver ray is about compassion. So there are the different levels.
Sweet. Thank you.
So helpful.
Now,
I've always wondered the difference between the gold and the white. Thank you.
Yeah. In fact, I was just talking to my guide the other day, and he gave me the list of which they all were. And I can't. Oh, the transparent one is the very highest frequency one, and that's bringing in source light.
Good to know. I was just thinking about that this week. That's so interesting.
Put it in one of my newsletters. This one's, but every month I put out as much information as I can in my newsletters.
It's always wonderful because you explain it so well. I was thinking about when you were talking, Kim was talking about the subtle bodies of our energy. When we go outside, we are taking care of those too, because we're letting the sun and the sun codes get into those as well. Isn't that one of the reasons we feel so good when we go outside?
Well, you clearly don't live in England.
Oh.
Seattle.
The sun's still shining above the clouds, Diana.
We do have lots of rain to wash off all
wash all the junk off. Yeah, I was just thinking about being here, or in Seattle, I suppose, Katie. Yeah.
But the warmth of community at the 5th dimension is more nourishing than the warmth of the sunshine.
Very good.
And my guide particularly told me that. He said it's really important to remember that as we move forward, because the planetary climate is changing so much.
So meeting in this kind of a forum with all of us, all of us here together, and then all of our extended audience and everybody else who's listening to this really charges us up. It's a kind of...
Oh, yes, because we're connecting heart to heart. We're not trying to put each other down or go mind to mind. This is about heart to heart connections. In fact, I tell you what is a lovely thing to do, and that is just say, make sure your heart's really open. Oh, and then open your higher heart too, and connect with every single person that's watching this or watches the recording, and just make sure that network, an absolute web of love, is flowing between us all. Yeah.
Nancy, you have a question. You've been very quiet. I know you're just dying.
I'm just taking everything in. I'm good.
Okay, I just thought you might have a question. Teresa Warren wants to say that she just loves listening to all your insights, divine insights. And
thank you, Teresa. I love you.
We are so privileged and honored to have you here, and we hope to have you all. And so I imagine you'll have some more people in your class on Monday, or they can watch the replay. I'm sure it's going to be a replay.
Yeah. Yes.
So if we can't join right at 2 p.m. Eastern, when I'm supposed to be working.
Brenda, I do have one more question. I do have a
Absolutely, Teresa.
because Diana, you had mentioned that 2032-ish is when we reach this point, this tipping point, right, where we can just create this whole new paradigm. But obviously, leading up to that, there's going to be an increased probably uptick in like the powers that be trying to cling to the old paradigm. Do you see things getting a lot more intense between now and 2032? And if so, do you have any advice for how well, I guess we've talked about just staying in our own lane and just staying high frequency.
Yeah, I think the next 2 years are going to be quite strong as the changes take place and the collapses take place. And then we're going to be moving much more into more peaceful, calm waters as we raise our frequency for the new. But it's really important in that time to stay in your golden bubble. Literally, when you go out, just think, I don't have to have anything to do with this. This is not my world. My world is happy and relaxed.
Okay. Do you see any natural disasters or just have you gotten any specific prophetic visions?
My guide will never tell me about bad things happening, because if you focus on them, then you make them happen.
True.
We listen to these forecasts, and some of them are just scaremongering. At least I don't listen to them, but I used to. And then you add to that fear, you add to that energy. Whereas we can change everything with our thoughts, with our ideas, with our visions. And the full moon today is a very important moon for commitment. If you commit during this full moon, you write down your vision, you say, yes, I'm going to commit to health or whatever it is, or to creating something, then the universe is 100% behind you. If you're 100% committed, you've got 100% commitment from the universe. So it's a very important day to make shifts in your life. Everyone's gone really,
I love it. Yes.
really quiet.
Now, I'm wondering, like, as we're moving into the Lion's Gate, do you have like a suggestion or an invitation or an advice?
This year is a very interesting question, because as you know, this year is not just 88.
Yes.
It's 2024 is 888. It's 888.
Woo! I never thought about that. Yeah.
This year, for the first time, normally it's the Sun, Sirius, and Earth coming into alignment. This time, for the first time ever, it's the Sun, Earth, and the ascended aspect of Sirius coming into alignment.
Whoa.
And so we're going to have much higher energies coming in and being made available to us. And a lot of it is this new spiritual technology, new ideas for how to help the world get better. But of course, in the Kume, the ascended aspect of Sirius, it also holds the Christ light. So higher frequencies of Christ light coming in. It's a huge, huge opportunity for shift, this 8-8.
I love that. So open your heart and just receive.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, and I love how it ties into the timeline of things, right? Because if these next 2 years are probably going to be at the peak of intensity, I think we're always taken care of and provided for, if we just lean in and let go and trust. And so how beautiful that this energy is showing up right at this perfect time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Really, absolutely. And don't forget, next month, the full moon is not only a super moon, it's a blue moon.
Oh, right.
And so again, magical things can happen. Oh, I mean, the world is awesome and amazing and exciting. Now, I love to do little jingles. I'm a great jingle person. If ever I need anything, I write a jingle. One of my favorites is, I walk the golden way with magic and miracles every day.
Oh.
As I said, I can just feel them being attracted to me because I'm calling them in.
Oh, that's worth writing down and putting.
Say it again. Say it again. We'll say it again slowly. Yeah.
I walk the golden way with magic and miracles every day.
Every day.
Ah,
Oh, I love that.
A beautiful daily mantra going into the 8/8. I think.
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a good one to stick on your Post-it note.
Yes.
That on the,
And you can
Ah.
expand it for your own personal life as well,
Sure.
which I do, for
miracles
the
every day.
community and the magic school and everything. I have it all in little jingles.
Wow. Thank you again so much. So remind people about what's going on and about your school as well, and about your class tomorrow night or tomorrow
Okay.
sometime.
Afternoon.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's 7 p.m. UK time. So Merlin has asked me to do a class on bringing in his codes of magic. Now, these are not Hogwarts type Harry Potter codes. These are the codes of the higher heart that activate his powers and enable you to do extraordinary things through the higher heart. And so he's given me notes. There are parts of the body you have to touch, and then specific notes with the tuning fork while he puts to prepare you to put the energy in. When the energy is in, it's like you've been given the numbers, the codes of the key safe, and you have access to the keys. At that moment, you have to be absolutely ready, and then Merlin will enable you to open the door. But you cannot open the door with the key, with the codes. You have to have the key. So I don't want people to think they're going to come out of it and suddenly they can do magic. What he's doing is preparing you.
Right.
And if you are at that moment absolutely ready, then he will activate those codes for you at that moment so that you can go in and receive his energies, his teachings. And the minute you are ready, then he will give you the key. So, I mean, I just think it's incredibly exciting. I know that lots has shifted for me in that time.
I'm excited to sign up for the class for tomorrow. You girls,
Sounds phenomenal.
But you know how it works. Anybody who's meant to be in it, they will make sure you're there. Your guardian angel will make sure you're there.
Find a way.
And if you're not meant to be doing it, then they'll just, distract you.
Do you suggest bringing a tuning fork for us if we have
No,
one?
no. I'll be doing all of that.
You'll
And
be
the
doing it all.
sound comes down the line. Yeah. I've been practicing.
Oh,
And will there be a replay if people can't make it live?
Yes. There's always a recording. So you can always sign up and get the recording.
and you can watch it over and over again on Diana's. So that's what's so
And it's
great.
a good idea to do it again and again, because I recorded it for myself and then I listened to it. And he said that each time you listen, it goes deeper into you.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is quite profound.
You can find all her classes at www.dianacooper.com.
Yeah.
And all her classes are listed there, so you can take
Yes.
a whole bunch of them. They're all very reasonable, I have to say, even for Canadian. Thank you again so much, Diana. We really appreciate you being here, and we will want to have you again, and we will ask you again when we don't feel like we're taking up too much of your time. But
Thank you. It's been lovely to be here.
Stick around. I'm just going to say goodbye, and then I will. We'll be all back to say our goodbyes. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.